First class is for real Americans, not charity cases like you. Taylor Brooks' words slice through the cabin. The 50-something executive blocks the empty seat with his arm, deliberate and threatening. His Rolex glints as he flicks Amara's boarding pass from her trembling hands. It flutters to the floor. 19-year-old Amara Johnson feels every eye avoiding her, every passenger suddenly absorbed in their phones. "Pick it up," Taylor commands, pointing to the fallen pass. "Then find your way back to economy where you belong." Amara bends down, dignity crumbling. Her fingers close around the pass as Taylor's Italian leather shoe presses briefly against her hand. "Oops," he smirks. "Didn't see you there." The cabin falls silent. No one intervenes. What would you do if you witnessed someone being humiliated like this? Where are you watching from? But Taylor had no idea who Amara's father was, or the storm about to devastate his life. Amara arrives at Denver International Airport 3 hours early, vibrating with excitement. Her first solo cross-country flight. A blue canvas backpack hangs from one shoulder, containing her laptop and conference materials. The prestigious Tech Future Summit in San Francisco awaits. Her scholarship application had been one of only 10 accepted nationwide. Her father's text arrives as she navigates security. "Check your boarding pass. Little upgrade. Proud of you." Amara smiles, discovering the first-class ticket. Her father, though rarely mentioned in public tech circles, holds significant power in the airline industry. This is his quiet way of celebrating her achievement. At the first-class check-in counter, the gate agent studies Amara's ID with unusual scrutiny. "University conference?" she asks, tone suggesting Amara doesn't quite belong. "I'm a presenter," Amara responds politely, though the question feels unnecessary. The agent's eyes flicker with doubt. "Right. And how did you get this ticket?" "It was purchased for me," Amara answers, maintaining composure despite the obvious implication. "I'll need to verify this." The agent makes a show of checking something in the system, taking twice as long as she had with the businessman ahead of Amara. Across the terminal, Taylor Brooks barks orders into his phone while settling into the first-class lounge. "Tell Hopkins I'm not accepting those terms. My division brought in $40 million last quarter. I expect better." He snaps his fingers at a passing attendant. "Scotch. Neat." The attendant nods professionally. "Right away, sir." Taylor notices Amara entering the lounge, her dark skin and youthful appearance immediately triggering his biases. His eyes narrow as she presents her boarding pass to the lounge receptionist. "These membership standards keep dropping," he mutters audibly to the businessman beside him, who chuckles uncomfortably. When Amara declines the champagne offer and requests sparkling water instead, Taylor scoffs. "Probably not old enough to drink," he comments to no one in particular. Or know what real quality is. During boarding, Taylor deliberately slows his pace when he notices Amara behind him. "Some people think money buys class," he says loudly to another passenger. "But you can always tell who really belongs." Amara takes a deep breath, remembering her father's advice about navigating predominantly white spaces. Your dignity is non-negotiable. Choose your battles wisely. She straightens her shoulders and follows Taylor onto the jet bridge, unaware that their paths are about to collide in ways neither could anticipate. Taylor's assumptions about the quiet black girl would soon trigger the biggest professional mistake of his life. Taylor spreads his items strategically across both his assigned seat and the empty one beside him. His briefcase occupies the window seat, jacket draped over the armrest, a territorial display meant to discourage any potential seatmate. When Amara approaches row 3, boarding pass in hand, Taylor pretends not to notice her. She stands patiently, waiting for acknowledgement. "Excuse me," Amara says finally. "I believe that's my seat." Taylor looks up with exaggerated surprise. There must be some mistake. His voice carries deliberately to nearby passengers. "This section is for premium customers." Amara extends her boarding pass. 3A window seat. Taylor barely glances at it. "These tickets get mixed up all the time. Why don't you check with the attendant?" Economy is probably overbooked. Flight attendant Vanessa approaches, sensing tension. Her blonde hair is pulled back in a perfect regulation bun, her smile professional but cautious. Is there a problem? This young lady seems confused about her seating assignment, Taylor says before Amara can speak. Amara quietly hands her boarding pass to Vanessa, who confirms with a quick scan. Yes, this is correct. 3A is your assigned seat, miss. Taylor's jaw tightens. Vanessa turns to him with noticeably less conviction in her voice. Sir, would you mind? She gestures to his belongings. Fine, Taylor sighs dramatically, moving his items with deliberate slowness. Though I'm surprised at the seating arrangements today. Vanessa offers Amara an apologetic smile that doesn't reach her eyes, then hurries away without directly addressing Taylor's behavior. The message is clear. She won't confront a frequent first-class passenger, even when he's clearly in the wrong. Other passengers witness the interaction but quickly return to their pre-flight routines, adjusting air vents, ordering drinks, reviewing documents. Their silence creates a wall of tacit approval around Taylor's behavior. Taylor immediately puts on noise-canceling headphones, but ensures his commentary remains audible. Standards really slipping these days, he mutters. Next, they'll be giving these tickets away in cereal boxes. Amara removes her laptop from her backpack, focusing on her presentation slides for the conference. When her elbow accidentally brushes against Taylor's arm while retrieving her water bottle, he recoils with theatrical disgust. Personal space, he snaps, using his monogrammed handkerchief to wipe his arm where they touched. Basic etiquette. Vanessa notices from the galley but only offers Amara a helpless glance. The power dynamic is established. Taylor's comfort supersedes Amara's dignity. As pre-flight preparations continue, invisible gears turn that will soon shatter Taylor's illusion of untouchable privilege. The seatbelt sign illuminates with a soft electronic chime. Vanessa begins the pre-flight drink service, moving efficiently through the first-class cabin with practiced smiles. Scotch, neat, Taylor demands when she reaches their row. Make it a double. Of course, sir. Vanessa's response is immediate, deferential. When she returns with his drink, Taylor shifts suddenly, causing her to wobble. Amber liquid splashes onto Amara's laptop bag resting by her feet. Oops, Taylor says with mock concern. His eyes hold no apology. Maybe that expensive computer was a gift? Scholarship, perhaps? Amara calmly retrieves napkins from her tray table and dabs at her bag. Her face reveals nothing, though her fingers tremble slightly. And for you, miss? Vanessa asks. Sparkling water, please, Amara responds. Taylor interrupts before Vanessa can turn away. Are you sure she shouldn't be served in a plastic cup? He stares pointedly at the flight attendant. Just saying, some people aren't used to proper glassware. Vanessa hesitates, conflict flashing across her face. Then, inexplicably, she nods. I'll be right back. When she returns, Amara's sparkling water comes in a plastic cup while every other passenger enjoys glass. The silent humiliation burns worse than any comment. Several nearby passengers notice, shifting uncomfortably but saying nothing. The cabin temperature drops as the air conditioning engages at full power. Taylor requests a blanket from a passing attendant, who promptly brings him the last one in the warming drawer. Minutes later, Amara feels the chill against her skin. Goosebumps rise on her arms as the vents above blast cold air directly at her seat. She presses the call button. Could I possibly get a blanket as well? She asks when Vanessa arrives. I'm so sorry, Vanessa responds with practiced regret. We're completely out. Perhaps once we're airborne. Taylor unfolds his unused blanket with theatrical flourish, draping it across his lap with exaggerated comfort. Perfect temperature in here, he announces to no one in particular. During the safety demonstration, Taylor makes a show of checking his Rolex watch, then deliberately moves his wallet from his outer pocket to his inner jacket pocket. His eyes flick meaningfully toward Amara as he does this. A senior flight attendant, James, according to his nameplate, notices this interaction from the aisle. His eyes narrow slightly, but he continues with his duties without comment. I need to use the restroom before takeoff, Amara says quietly, standing to exit the row. Taylor sighs loudly but shifts his legs minimally, forcing Amara to awkwardly squeeze past him. When she returns 3 minutes later, her seat cushion is wet. "Oh dear," Taylor says, eyes wide with false innocence. "I think I spilled some water." Accidents happen. Vanessa rushes over with fresh towels, hurriedly replacing the cushion. As she works, Taylor leans toward her. "Perhaps she would be more comfortable with her own kind in economy," he suggests, just loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. "I'd be happy to have my row to myself again." Amara's hands clench into fists in her lap, but her face remains composed. Years of navigating spaces like this have taught her to wear a mask of calm, even when rage and humiliation burn beneath. Behind her steady gaze, Amara makes a decision that will alter the trajectory of everyone on this flight. Amara excuses herself once more, retreating to the lavatory at the front of the first-class cabin. Once inside, she locks the door and allows herself 10 seconds, 10 precious seconds to feel the full force of her emotions. Her reflection stares back, eyes bright with unshed tears that she refuses to let fall. Her father's words echo in her mind from countless dinner-table conversations. Dignity isn't the absence of emotion, it's the refusal to let others dictate your worth. She takes a deep breath, then pulls her phone from her pocket. No dramatic calls, no scenes, just a simple text to her father, Daniel Jackson. "Dad, on flight SF-1422. Passenger beside me, Taylor Brooks according to his luggage tag, making pointed comments about how I don't belong in first class. Flight attendants enabling it. Just FYI, I'm handling it." She adds specifics Taylor's exact words, Vanessa's plastic cup decision. The wet seat cushion then sends the message before returning her phone to airplane mode. Not asking for rescue, just documenting reality. In his downtown Chicago office, Daniel Jackson reviews quarterly projections when his phone buzzes. As chairman of the board for Air Alliance Group, the airline's parent company and principal architect of their new anti-discrimination initiative, he rarely intervenes in day-to-day operations. His expression darkens as he reads Amara's text. He doesn't immediately respond, but makes 3 brief calls to the airline CEO, the head of operations, and the chief of customer experience. "Flight SF-1422, he says in each call. His voice remains calm, factual. "My daughter is experiencing discrimination from another passenger and staff complicity. I'm not asking for special treatment. I'm asking what you would do if this happened to any passenger." He ends each call the same way. "This isn't about who she is. It's about who we claim to be as a company." Amara returns to her seat with renewed composure. Taylor mistakes her calm for defeat, his posture relaxing into smug satisfaction. "Bathroom facilities adequate for you?" he asks with false politeness. "First time using the premium ones, I imagine." Amara meets his gaze directly. "They're exactly the same as in economy, just fewer people waiting." Her response is quiet but clear. She won't be provoked. Taylor's smile falters momentarily before he doubles down, deliberately claiming the armrest between them. When Amara tries to adjust her seat position, he accidentally elbows her. "Personal space issues again," he sighs loudly. "Vanessa, could you please ensure my seatmate understands proper first-class etiquette?" In the cockpit, Captain Reed Walker receives a call from airline headquarters that begins with the words, "Priority Override Protocol." His expression shifts from confusion to shock as he listens to the voice on the other end. "Understood," he says finally. "Implementing immediately." He turns to his co-pilot. "Get James in here." Now. Taylor, oblivious to these developments, continues his performance. He speaks loudly into his phone. "Can't believe what passes for first class these days. Diversity requirements lowering standards everywhere you look." His gaze slides pointedly to Amara, expecting to find hurt or anger. Instead, he finds something far more unsettling: certainty, as if she knows something he doesn't. The power dynamic on flight SF-1422 is about to undergo a seismic shift that no one in first class will forget. Lead flight attendant James returns from the cockpit with altered posture, spine straight, jaw set, eyes alert. He scans the first-class cabin before pulling Vanessa aside near the galley. Their hushed conversation lasts only seconds, but Vanessa's transformation is immediate. Her eyes widen, her face drains of color. She glances toward row 3, seeing Amara with new understanding, not as an interloper in first class, but as someone whose presence suddenly carries significant weight. Taylor remains oblivious to this shift. He stretches his legs into Amara's foot space, forcing her to tuck her feet beneath her seat. His encroachment is deliberate, territorial. "Excuse me, Vanessa," he calls sharply when she emerges from the galley. "I'd like to request a seat change." Vanessa approaches cautiously. "I'm sorry, sir?" "A seat change." Taylor gestures vaguely around the cabin. "Preferably away from this row." I believe someone got upgraded who shouldn't have been. The comment hangs in the air, its implication unmistakable. A businessman across the aisle winces but continues typing on his laptop. A woman in row 2 adjusts her headphones, volume increasing. "I'm afraid that won't be possible, Mr. Brooks," Vanessa responds, her previously accommodating tone now neutral. "All seats are assigned." Taylor's eyebrows shoot up at this unexpected resistance. "I've been flying first class with this airline for 15 years. There's always flexibility for loyal customers." "Not today, sir." Vanessa's voice remains level but firm. "Then I need to speak with your supervisor." Taylor's volume increases. "The service standards on this flight are completely unacceptable." "I'll inform James of your concerns," Vanessa replies, already turning away. Taylor's face flushes with indignation. He leans toward Amara, voice lowered but sharp. "Enjoying the special treatment? Must be nice having everything handed to you." Amara continues reviewing her presentation notes, deliberately focusing on her screen. When she reaches for her water, Taylor shifts suddenly, bumping her arm. Water splashes onto her white blouse. "Some people just aren't coordinated enough for fine dining," Taylor remarks loudly. "Maybe that's why they give scholarships instead of jobs." A few passengers visibly recoil at the comment. One woman in row 4 starts to speak, but stops when her husband touches her arm in warning. The cabin becomes a theater of discomfort and complicity. James appears at the end of the aisle, speaking quietly into his communication device. His eyes meet Amara's briefly, a look of professional apology passes between them before he disappears again toward the cockpit. As Taylor basks in his perceived victory, the airline's highest protocols activate silently around him. The captain's voice crackles through the cabin speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Walker. We're experiencing a slight delay in our departure. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened. We should be underway shortly." Taylor exhales sharply, checking his Rolex with exaggerated impatience. "Incompetence at every level," he mutters. He turns to Amara with a cold smile. "I'm sure you're used to waiting for handouts, but some of us have important meetings in San Francisco." Amara continues reading her conference materials, her steady breathing the only sign she's heard him at all. This apparent dismissal agitates Taylor further. The plane remains at the gate, minutes ticking by. Passengers shift restlessly in their seats. A flight attendant rushes through business class with unusual urgency. James reappears, accompanied by Vanessa and the co-pilot, a tall man with captain's stripes, who introduces himself as First Officer Davidson. Their coordinated approach toward row 3 draws attention throughout the cabin. Taylor straightens in his seat, assuming they've come to address his complaints. He prepares to launch into his grievances, shoulders squaring with anticipation. Instead, First Officer Davidson addresses Amara directly. "Miss Jackson, is everything all right? Is there anything we can do to make your flight more comfortable today?" His tone is deferential, almost nervous, entirely inappropriate for addressing a 19-year-old in standard protocol. Taylor's expression freezes in confusion. "Excuse me," Taylor interjects sharply. "I'm the one who requested—" James cuts him off with a raised hand. "Sir, please allow us to address this situation." His tone is firm, brooking no argument. Taylor's mouth opens in shock. "Do you know who I am? I've been a platinum member for—" "We're fully aware of your status, Mr. Brooks," James responds without deference. "This matter takes precedence." The power shift is palpable. Nearby passengers sense it immediately, their attention now fully engaged. Some exchange glances, piecing together that something significant is unfolding. First Officer Davidson continues focusing exclusively on Amara. "We can arrange different seating if you'd prefer, Miss Jackson." "I'm fine with my assigned seat," Amara responds calmly. "I just expect to be treated with the same respect as any other passenger." Taylor's face fluctuates between confusion and outrage. What exactly is happening here? Why are you treating her like royalty while ignoring a loyal customer's concerns? James turns to him, voice lowered but firm. "Sir, we've received information regarding your conduct toward another passenger. This is being addressed at the highest levels of our organization." Taylor scoffs, though uncertainty flickers across his face. "What information? What highest levels? This is ridiculous." Amara remains composed, neither gloating nor appearing surprised by the sudden attention. The contrast between her dignity and Taylor's escalating agitation becomes increasingly stark to everyone watching. As Taylor demands explanations, the cabin door reopens to admit someone whose arrival signals the complete collapse of his comfortable world. The cabin door swings open with authority. Conversations halt mid-sentence as Patricia Hernandez, Vice President of Customer Experience, boards the plane. Her tailored suit and company pin gleam under the cabin lights. She's accompanied by Kyle Chen, the airport's customer service director, both executives rarely seen on actual aircraft. They move directly to row 3, their purposeful stride conveying unmistakable importance. Taylor assumes they've come to resolve the delay and address his complaints. He straightens his tie, preparing to assert his status. "Finally," he says loudly enough for nearby passengers to hear, "someone who understands the value of premium customers." Patricia ignores him completely, focusing exclusively on Amara. "Ms. Jackson, on behalf of the entire airline, I want to personally apologize for your experience today." Her voice carries professional gravity. "Your father has been in touch with our CEO." Taylor's expression freezes, mouth slightly open. "Her father? Who exactly?" Patricia continues without acknowledging his interruption. "We're conducting an immediate review of this incident. The airline has a zero-tolerance policy for discriminatory behavior, whether from staff or passengers." The cabin grows utterly silent. Even the ambient sounds of the aircraft seem to dim as passengers strain to hear this unexpected drama. "Ms. Jackson, would you prefer to continue your journey, or would you like us to arrange alternative transportation?" Patricia asks. "Either way, we want to ensure your comfort and dignity are protected." Taylor's face cycles through confusion, disbelief, and dawning horror as he begins to grasp the magnitude of his miscalculation. Amara responds with composed dignity. "I'd like to continue as planned. I don't want special treatment, just the respect every passenger deserves." Patricia nods with visible respect. "Of course." Taylor attempts to interject. "This is completely—" Patricia raises her hand, silencing him with a gesture. "Mr. Brooks, we'll address your situation separately." Her tone leaves no room for discussion. James steps forward, addressing Taylor directly. "Sir, we're relocating you to seat 24E in economy class for the duration of this flight, pending review of your conduct." "What?" Taylor's voice rises sharply. "You can't do that. I paid for first class." "Your fare difference will be refunded," Kyle explains clinically. "This decision comes directly from corporate headquarters." Taylor's face flushes deep red. "This is outrageous!" "I've done nothing wrong." "I'll sue this airline for everything it's worth." His threats fall flat against the wall of authority now arrayed before him. Nearby passengers, fully engaged in the unfolding drama, watch with expressions ranging from discomfort to undisguised satisfaction. "Your options are to accept relocation or deplane and take a later flight," Patricia states simply. "Which do you prefer?" Taylor recognizes defeat but remains defiant. "I'll be contacting my attorney the moment we land," he snaps, gathering his belongings. "And my company has a major contract with this airline that will certainly be reconsidered." As he stands to move, whispers ripple through first class. Passengers who moments ago avoided eye contact with Amara now offer small smiles of solidarity. The narrative has shifted completely. As Taylor is escorted to economy, the true extent of his catastrophic error is about to be revealed to everyone on board. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Walker speaking. We apologize for the delay. We're prioritizing a safe and respectful environment for all passengers before departure. His emphasis on all hangs meaningfully in the air. We'll be pushing back from the gate shortly. Thank you for your patience. In economy class, Taylor struggles to fit his carry-on into the overhead compartment. A flight attendant watches without offering assistance, a stark contrast to the deferential treatment he's accustomed to receiving. He's wedged into a middle seat between a sleeping elderly woman and a man whose broad shoulders spill over the armrest. Taylor immediately pulls out his phone, fingers stabbing aggressively at the screen as he texts his attorney. The flight attendant approaches. "Sir, all electronic devices must be in airplane mode for takeoff." "This is an emergency," Taylor snaps. "I need to contact my people at airline headquarters." "All devices must be stowed regardless of the circumstance," she responds firmly. It's a federal safety regulation. In first class, Patricia Hernandez sits briefly in Taylor's vacated seat. "Miss Jackson, I want to explain what's happening." Her tone is professional, yet warm. "Your father, Daniel Jackson, contacted our executive team, but not in the way you might expect." Amara listens attentively, hands folded in her lap. "He didn't demand special treatment for you," Patricia continues. "Instead, he asked us a single question. If this happened to any passenger, what would your response be?" A small smile touches Amara's lips. This approach is quintessentially her father. "What you might not know," Patricia adds, lowering her voice slightly, "is that your father is the architect of our new anti-discrimination initiative, scheduled to launch next month. This program includes comprehensive staff training and accountability measures specifically designed to address incidents like what you experienced today." Patricia glances briefly toward economy class. "Mr. Brooks has not only violated our passenger code of conduct, but he's potentially jeopardized a significant business relationship. His company, Gradient Consulting, has a 7-figure contract with our airline. Their chief ethics officer has already been notified of this incident. The irony lands perfectly. Taylor's company is known for its public commitment to diversity and inclusion initiatives. Meanwhile, in economy, Taylor attempts to use his status to intimidate the flight attendants. "Do you realize I spend over $50,000 annually with this airline? This treatment is unconscionable." The flight attendant responds with professional detachment. "Your frequent flyer profile has been flagged, sir. I'm not authorized to offer any premium services at this time." Back in first class, as the plane finally pushes back from the gate, Amara receives a text message from her father. "I didn't make this about who you are. I made it about who they should be. Love you." She smiles, understanding the deeper lesson. Her father used his influence not to secure special treatment, but to ensure the system worked as it should for everyone. Throughout the cabin, passengers who witnessed Taylor's behavior earlier now process the dramatic reversal. Several approach Amara discreetly once the seatbelt sign turns off. "I should have said something earlier," admits a woman from row 2. "I'm sorry, I didn't." "That man was completely out of line," offers a businessman across the aisle. "I'm glad the airline took action." As the flight reaches cruising altitude, Taylor attempts to return to first class to explain his side, only to be firmly blocked by James. "Sir, you need to return to your assigned seat immediately." "This is a misunderstanding," Taylor insists, his previous arrogance replaced by desperation. "I need to speak with Miss Jackson." "That won't be possible," James states firmly. "This incident has been escalated to corporate headquarters. Additionally, your company has been notified of the situation." Real fear crosses Taylor's face as the professional implications suddenly crystallize. Gradient Consulting emphasizes diversity and inclusion in all their public messaging. The airline contract represents millions in revenue for his division, which he oversees directly. His phone buzzes with an email from Gradient's chief ethics officer. Urgent discussion required upon landing. Board has been notified of potential contract-endangering incident. As Taylor returns to his economy seat, ashen-faced, Amara reviews her conference presentation with renewed focus. She hasn't won because of who her father is. She's won because discrimination, when properly addressed, cannot stand in the light of accountability. As news of the incident spreads through both the plane and corporate headquarters, Taylor's 20-year career hangs by a rapidly fraying thread. The moment Flight SF-1422 reaches cruising altitude, ripples from the incident spread through multiple organizations. In the airline's Chicago headquarters, CEO Laura Matthews convenes an emergency executive meeting via video conference. "I want complete transparency on this," she states firmly. "Daniel Jackson didn't ask for special treatment for his daughter. He asked if our systems actually work for all passengers. Today, they initially failed." The executives shift uncomfortably. The chief operations officer speaks first. "The crew's delayed response represents a systemic issue in our training protocols. The initial failure to address discriminatory behavior is exactly what Jackson's initiative is designed to correct." Meanwhile, at Gradient Consulting's San Francisco office, the leadership team receives increasingly detailed reports about their senior vice president's conduct. Taylor's text messages grow increasingly desperate as he attempts damage control from his economy seat. "This is being blown completely out of proportion," he writes to his direct supervisor. "The girl was upgraded beyond her station. I was simply maintaining standards." His supervisor's response is immediate and devastating. "Stop communicating." The airline has provided video footage from the cabin. Board members have seen it. Wait for instructions upon landing. The footage, part of the airline's new transparency protocol implemented under Daniel Jackson's direction, clearly shows Taylor's behavior, contradicting his claims of innocence. Gradient's general counsel reviews the material with increasing alarm. "This directly violates sections 3, 7, and 12 of our ethics code," she informs the CEO. "More critically, it endangers our relationship with Air Alliance Group. That contract represents 11% of our annual revenue. At 36,000 feet, awareness of the situation spreads throughout the aircraft. Passengers who witnessed Taylor's behavior but remained silent now experience varying degrees of discomfort and self-reflection. Several approach Amara discreetly during the flight to offer support. "I should have said something," admits a middle-aged professor from row 5. "Silence makes us complicit. I teach that to my students but failed to practice it today." Amara responds with grace. "Speaking up can be difficult. What matters is recognizing when we should have." In economy, Taylor oscillates between rage and panic. His phone fills with increasingly urgent messages from colleagues and superiors. The airline's in-flight Wi-Fi becomes his lifeline to a career imploding in real time. His company's ethics committee, convened for an emergency session, reviews not only the current incident, but Taylor's personnel file. Previous complaints about culturally insensitive comments resurface incidents that were noted but never addressed due to his consistent revenue generation. "This is no longer about one incident," Gradient's chief diversity officer informs the board. "This is a pattern that we've enabled through inaction." The airline's social media team, meanwhile, prepares for potential blowback as passengers with in-flight Wi-Fi begin posting about the incident. Rather than suppressing the story, the communications director following Daniel Jackson's new transparency initiative drafts a statement acknowledging the incident and outlining immediate steps being taken. Air Alliance Group acknowledges a discriminatory incident on Flight SF-1422. We have addressed it in real time, demonstrating our commitment to dignity for all passengers, regardless of race, gender, or background. This incident will become a central case study in our enhanced crew training program. The statement receives immediate praise from civil rights organizations and industry watchdogs, transforming a potential PR crisis into evidence of organizational integrity. As the flight begins its descent into San Francisco, James approaches Amara. "Ms. Jackson, I want to personally apologize for not intervening sooner. There's no excuse for my hesitation." "You corrected course when it mattered," Amara responds. "That's how systems improve." When the plane lands, Taylor is asked to remain seated while other passengers deplane. Two airline representatives and a security officer wait at the gate. They inform him that his frequent flyer status has been suspended pending review and provide formal documentation of the incident. This is absurd. Taylor attempts to dismiss the situation, a complete misunderstanding blown out of proportion. We have 17 witness statements and complete video documentation, the airline representative responds evenly. This isn't about interpretation, Mr. Brooks. It's about documented conduct. Meanwhile, Amara is discreetly escorted through the terminal by Patricia Hernandez, who ensures she reaches her conference transportation without further incident. As a direct result of today's events, Patricia shares, we're accelerating the rollout of our anti-discrimination training program. Sometimes it takes an incident like this to reveal where our systems still need strengthening. Amara nods thoughtfully. My father always says that policies are just words until they're tested in reality. As Amara departs for her conference, Taylor emerges from the jet bridge to find a Gradient Consulting representative waiting. The woman's expression is grave as she informs him that a car is waiting to take him directly to the company's San Francisco office. The executive committee is assembled, she states flatly. They've reviewed the video footage. Taylor's face drains of color as he realizes the comprehensive documentation of his behavior and the fact that his entire professional future now hangs in the balance. This is just a misunderstanding, he attempts weakly. I'm a valuable asset to this company. The committee will make that determination, she responds, her tone making it clear that his self-assessment carries little weight in the face of damning evidence. Have you ever discovered someone had much more power or influence than you initially assumed? Tell us your story below. As Taylor faces the professional reckoning he never anticipated, the airline industry itself stands poised for transformation, all because one man asked the right question at the right moment. 1 week later, Taylor sits rigidly in a leather chair facing 5 executives at Gradient Consulting's glass conference table. The room's atmosphere is glacial despite the San Francisco sunshine streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. The company's chief ethics officer, Dr. Elaine Foster, slides a tablet toward him. This is the complete video from Flight SF-1422, she states without preamble. We've reviewed it multiple times. The footage plays with merciless clarity, every dismissive gesture, every contemptuous remark captured in high definition. Taylor's face remains frozen in a mask of professional neutrality, though a muscle twitches in his jaw. Would you care to explain your actions? Dr. Foster asks when the video concludes. Taylor clears his throat. This was clearly a cultural misunderstanding. My comments were not racially motivated, but rather about maintaining professional standards in premium spaces. The chief financial officer interjects, You specifically suggested she belonged with her own kind in economy. Please explain the cultural nuance we're missing there. Taylor shifts strategies immediately. Look, had I known she was Daniel Jackson's daughter... That's precisely the problem, the CEO interrupts sharply. You believed you could treat her differently because you assumed she lacked power or connection. That reveals character, Mr. Brooks, not misunderstanding. Taylor's professional training fails him as desperation sets in. She received special treatment solely because of her father's position. Dr. Foster slides another document across the table. We've reviewed Miss Jackson's original complaint. She never mentioned her father's role, never requested special treatment. She simply documented what occurred and allowed the system to respond. Taylor falls silent, suddenly aware of the trap he's created for himself. Each defense only further reveals the biases that drove his behavior. The CFO speaks next, his tone clinically detached. Air Alliance Group represents 17% of your division's annual revenue. Their CEO called personally to inform us they will not work with Gradient Consulting if you remain in any leadership capacity. 20 years, Taylor responds, voice hollow. I've given this company 20 years of exceptional service. And destroyed millions in value in 20 minutes of inexcusable behavior, the CEO counters. The decision is unanimous. Effective immediately, your employment with Gradient Consulting is terminated. The words land like physical blows. Termination. Not suspension. Not demotion. Not reassignment. Complete excision. You'll receive the standard severance package, the HR director adds. Your company accounts have already been deactivated. As Taylor cleans out his office that afternoon, former colleagues avoid eye contact. His assistant has already requested reassignment. His nameplate has been removed from his door, an unnervingly swift erasure of his professional existence. Meanwhile, at the airline's training center, Vanessa and several other crew members from Flight SF-1422 undergo the first session of the new anti-discrimination protocol. Rather than termination, Daniel Jackson's initiative emphasizes education and accountability. The initial failure wasn't addressing a passenger's bias, the trainer explains. We expect passengers to sometimes behave badly. The failure was in not protecting the dignity of another passenger when that bias emerged. Vanessa raises her hand. I was afraid of confronting a high-status passenger. It seemed safer to accommodate him. The trainer nods. That's precisely the dynamic this program addresses. Our new protocol establishes that maintaining dignity for all passengers is non-negotiable, regardless of status. The lead flight attendant, James, who initially hesitated but ultimately supported Amara, is recognized for course-correcting once the situation escalated. Perfect responses aren't the standard, the training director explains. Continuous improvement is. James demonstrated that correction is always possible and valued. This balanced approach to accountability becomes a central case study in the airline's new training program. One that acknowledges human error while refusing to accept discriminatory outcomes. Taylor, meanwhile, discovers that his industry reputation has imploded with shocking speed. Former clients decline meetings. Recruiters stop returning calls. His LinkedIn profile becomes a digital ghost town as connections quietly sever professional ties. Your name is radioactive right now, his attorney explains bluntly during a consultation. The video has circulated among industry executives. Nobody wants to risk their corporate image by associating with you. In 1 week, a 20-year career built on talent, results, and relationships crumbles all because of assumptions made about a quiet black girl in seat 3A. As Taylor confronts the ruins of his professional life, his actions catalyze changes that will impact millions of travelers who will never know his name. 3 months later, Daniel Jackson stands before 200 airline executives at the International Aviation Conference in Montreal. Behind him, a slide displays a simple question. Does our system work for everyone? The Jackson Protocol isn't named after me, he clarifies, his deep voice carrying authority without arrogance. It's named after my daughter, who experienced what thousands of passengers face daily discrimination unchallenged by those with power to address it. The protocol, now adopted by 3 major airlines and under consideration by 12 others, establishes clear guidelines for responding to bias incidents in real time. Its core innovation isn't the anti-discrimination stance most airlines already claim such values, but the practical implementation. Policies mean nothing without actionable protocols, Daniel continues. Crew members must know they won't face repercussions for addressing discrimination, regardless of the status of the offending passenger. The initiative includes anonymous reporting systems accessible via in-flight entertainment screens, comprehensive training using real-world scenarios, and a revolutionary accountability structure that treats bias incidents as seriously as safety violations. Aviation Week's latest issue features the program prominently. The Jackson incident, as it's now known throughout the industry, has become a turning point for how airlines address discrimination in real time. The article cites passenger surveys showing increased confidence that reports of discrimination will be taken seriously. Meanwhile, Taylor Brooks struggles to rebuild his shattered career. Despite his qualifications, his digital footprint now permanently includes news coverage of the incident. Executive search firms reject him gently but firmly. 3 promising positions evaporate once reference checks reveal the circumstances of his termination from Gradient. I can help with resume restructuring, his career coach offers diplomatically. But the incident video has become a case study in corporate ethics, training across multiple industries. Recognition remains an obstacle. This very public consequence becomes a powerful deterrent discussed in corporate ethics trainings nationwide. The message resonates clearly. Discrimination carries professional risk, regardless of one's status or position. Gradient Consulting, seeking to repair damaged relationships, introduces mandatory scenario-based training for all client-facing employees. The Brooks incident demonstrates how quickly unconscious bias can surface under pressure. Their new ethics module explains, and how swiftly such incidents can destroy value and relationships. Air Alliance Group extends Daniel Jackson's contract, expanding his anti-discrimination initiative to include ground operations and booking systems. The program now addresses subtle forms of discrimination that often go unreported: differential treatment during boarding, uneven application of policies, and automated systems that disadvantage certain groups. Amara, focused on her education and burgeoning technology career, declines multiple interview requests. She refuses to become the public face of discrimination narratives. However, she does contribute anonymously to the development of her father's training program, ensuring it addresses the subtle microaggressions that preceded Taylor's more obvious behavior. The plastic cup wasn't obvious discrimination, she notes during a curriculum development session, but it communicated clearly that I wasn't valued equally. Those subtle moments cause the deepest damage because they're hardest to name and address. The protocol specifically trains staff to recognize these smaller moments, when policies are applied unevenly or service quality differs based on perceived passenger status, and provides practical intervention language. 3 airlines announced the adoption of the Jackson Protocol with considerable industry publicity. Their training materials include anonymous testimonials from passengers who experienced discrimination, creating emotional investment in consistent implementation. The protocol's most significant innovation comes in its approach to accountability, treating discriminatory incidents as potential indicators of broader systemic issues rather than isolated events. This shift moves beyond simply disciplining individual employees to examining how company culture and procedures might enable or discourage appropriate responses. Real change happens when doing the right thing becomes easier than doing the wrong thing, Daniel explains in a widely shared interview. We're restructuring systems to make dignity the path of least resistance. As the reforms take root across the industry, a final encounter will bring the story full circle, revealing the true measure of systemic change. 1 year later, Amara boards another Air Alliance flight to San Francisco. This time, she travels as a featured speaker at the Tech Future Summit. Her scholarship position, elevated to industry recognition after her innovative payment security algorithm, attracted significant attention. The airline industry's transformation is immediately visible. Diverse flight crews move through the cabin with confidence. Digital screens display passenger rights information in multiple languages. QR codes for reporting concerns appear on seatback cards with the simple header, "Your dignity matters." As Amara settles into her first-class seat, she notices a middle-aged white woman giving a young Hispanic man across the aisle a suspicious once-over. The woman's expression suggests she's calculating whether he belongs in this premium cabin. Before the situation develops, flight attendant Marcus approaches with warm professionalism. "Welcome to first class, sir. Can I get you a pre-flight beverage? Our signature cocktail is particularly good today." The pointed hospitality sends a clear message. The woman quickly adjusts her expression, suddenly fascinated with the safety card in her seatback pocket. Amara smiles, recognizing this as a direct result of the new training. Marcus catches her eye and gives a subtle nod of recognition, not because she's Daniel Jackson's daughter, but because the crew has been trained to be vigilant about creating an inclusive environment. "Ms. Jackson, welcome aboard," Marcus says as he turns to her. "Would you like sparkling water again today?" His reference to her preference from previous flights communicates that she's valued as an individual passenger. "Yes, thank you," she responds, appreciating the small acknowledgement of her personhood, the exact opposite of the treatment she'd received a year earlier. In the terminal before boarding his economy flight to a job interview with a regional consulting firm, Taylor Brooks spots Amara from a distance. His once confident posture now carries the slight stoop of someone whose self-image has been fundamentally altered. His suit, while still expensive, lacks the crisp confidence it once projected. Their eyes meet briefly across the crowded terminal. There's a moment where he seems about to approach her, perhaps to apologize, but he hesitates and turns away. Recognition without reconciliation. Later that afternoon, Amara delivers her conference keynote on ethical technology design. She includes a subtle reference to her experience. Systems only work when they work for everyone. Privilege shouldn't determine dignity. It should demand responsibility. The audience applauds enthusiastically, unaware of the personal experience informing her words. After her presentation, a flight attendant approaches her in the conference center lobby. It's Vanessa, no longer in uniform, her hair now worn in a natural style rather than the severe bun from their first encounter. "You probably don't remember me," Vanessa begins hesitantly. "Flight SF-1422, 1 year ago," Amara replies without hesitation. "I remember." Vanessa nods, swallowing hard. "I've wanted to apologize properly. I failed that day, failed to do what was right." "What happened afterward?" Amara asks. "I almost quit," Vanessa admits. "The shame was overwhelming. But then I was selected for the advanced training program. Now I'm one of the trainers in the anti-discrimination program. Your experience changed how we approach our responsibility to all passengers." She hands Amara a business card. "I teach crews that silence isn't neutrality, it's complicity. I tell them that dignity isn't optional, it's foundational. I learned that from you." The story comes full circle as Daniel Jackson watches his daughter's keynote speech online from his office. On his desk sits the industry award his initiative recently received, but his expression makes clear that he's more proud of the quiet dignity with which Amara handled herself and how she's helping create systems where such dignity is protected for everyone. The true victory wasn't Taylor's downfall or even the industry reforms. It was the demonstration that systems can change when people of conscience refuse to accept that some deserve dignity while others must earn it. Respect isn't earned through status. It's the baseline everyone deserves. If you found this story powerful, hit that like button to help others see it too. These moments of justice and accountability deserve to be shared. Subscribe to PAP Stories for more real-life lessons that show the power of standing your ground with dignity. Every week, we bring you stories that aren't just entertaining, they're blueprints for navigating an unjust world with grace and strength.